Hi everyone! So today I'm going to be trying something that I've actually wanted to do for a few years now, and that is the mid-year book freakout tag. Now, I know it's not quite mid-year. Actually, the date exactly is May 21st, although it's probably going to be in a few months' time when I post this. Anyway, this tag is a tag on BookTube, which I've actually wanted to join for quite a long time now. Fortunately, when I started my YouTube channel, I was too scared to post any book content, but now I'm here. So without further ado, let's begin. First question. What's the best book you've read so far in 2022? Cool, we're off to a good start. So for this, I would definitely pick Six of Crows by Libby. It's a really well-written book, and I love it because it's set in a sort of heist situation, and I loved the interaction between the characters. This is actually a sequel to the Shadow and Bone trilogy, but it's kind of unrelated, so it's more of a sequel series set in the same universe. I absolutely love this copy that I have, and I think it was such a score because I got it from our library's book exchange, which is just somewhere where you can put your old books and exchange them for other people's old books. So this was such a score. I love this book. Question 2. What's the best sequel you've read so far in 2022? Okay, so this one's actually a bit of a tie between The Rose Society by Marie Lu and Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, which is the sequel to this book, Six of Crows. The Rose Society is actually a sequel to The Young Elites, which I've reviewed on this channel, so you can check out that video if you'd like to learn more about it. I give them a tie because they're actually both really good books in their own ways, and they all have a special place in my heart. Really, that's kind of cliche, but all my books have a special place in my heart. Thank you very much. I will have to say, I also got this book from the book exchange, same day I got Six of Crows. It was an incredible day for book getting. Question 3. What is the new release you have not read yet, but want to? So this one's actually kind of funny. I don't follow new arrivals, so I have no idea what is new. I've just been reading whatever comes up onto my feed. I can't really tell you what I want to read quite yet. But I have a really long to be read. Question 4. What is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? I know this one. There's this one book that I'm really excited that I only recently found out was coming out in October 2022, and that is Silverborn by Jessica Townsend. It is the 4th book in the Nevermore series, and I absolutely love that series. I've followed it ever since the 2nd book, and oh my goodness, it's incredible. The world building, the characters, the plot, everything. Okay, especially the characters though. The characters are incredible and so wacky. It's great. So I definitely recommend you read the first 3 Nevermore books because Silverborn is coming out on sometime in October this year. Look out for it. Question 5. What was your biggest disappointment? I also know exactly which one this was. It's the book that I gave the lowest rating to this year, and it's actually the first book I read this year. It's The Heart Goes Last by Margaret Atwood. I rated it a 3 out of 10, and I kind of expected better from her, you know? I gave it a 3 out of 10 because I actually liked the premise of the story, which is a city where people swap between working in a prison and living in a beautiful suburban home. So I love that premise, but the execution was quite shoddy and there was too much focus on the romance instead of the whole dystopian society. Because I've actually started enjoying dystopian books, for example, The Giver, which I read a few years ago, and yeah, she just didn't focus enough on it. Number 6. What was your biggest surprise? Okay, I have this one. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This is my most recent read, and this actually isn't my copy. I borrowed my copy online. This is my brother's copy, because apparently my raving about it convinced him to read it, which is absolutely amazing because he almost never takes my book recommendations. So that's incredible. I absolutely loved this book, and I didn't expect to like it because when I first started this book, the writing got to me. I couldn't fully understand it. This book has the longest sentences I have ever seen. The writing is quite old-fashioned and flowery, but actually it has a quaintness to it, which I started liking towards the end of the book. I also really love the romance, and I love how it manages to balance the romance with the main themes in the book, which are pride and prejudice. Well, his pride and her prejudice. I love how it touched on many important aspects of life. Let me just add that Mr. Bennett is hilarious and so cool. Question 7. What is your favorite new author? Okay, so neither of these authors are actually new or recently debuted, but they're new to me, so I'm adding that in. I have 2, again, tied, because I am super indecisive. So it's between Marie Lu, who wrote this book, and Marissa Mayer, who wrote a bunch of my other favorite books that I've read this year. Marissa Mayer wrote the Renegade series, Heartless, and Instant Karma. And I kind of just binged on her books, and I quite enjoyed them. I like her style of writing, and the plots are incredible. So I definitely recommend her. Marie Lu was an author recommended to me by one of my really good friends, and I read The Young Elites, and I loved it. You should know. I'm really looking forward to reading more of her books because I haven't gotten around to doing it. And also the library never has them in stock. Like, they're always on loan. It's maddening because I'm always put on waiting list. Question 8, what is your newest fictional crush? I am skipping over this one because I don't have one. Question 9, what is your newest favorite character? What do you know? Another tie. This is currently tied between Nina Zennick from Six of Crows and Millard Nillings from Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, which is a book by Ransom Riggs. I read that whole series and I absolutely loved it. And Millard was my favorite character because he just cracks jokes at the funniest times, and he has like incredible wits. It's funny. Nina Zennick is just badass. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Question 10. What was the book that made you cry? This is not a book. This is the books, because I'm indecisive and I put 2 again. This book, The Fault in Our Stars, because obviously if I read it, I'm gonna cry, of course. I should have known that before I picked it up. I knew that before I picked it up. And yet I still read it. It was really good. Touching. It's a story about 2 cancer patients. Well, actually more than 2 cancer patients, but it's a story about children with cancer and them falling in love. Of course it's going to be sad. What did I expect? So it's by John Green. It's pretty famous. And it's tied with You've Reached Sam by Dustin Thal. I read this one in one day. And I was in bed when I finished it, and I kind of just cried into my covers because the end is so sad. The premise of this book is actually really interesting, which is when a girl calls her dead boyfriend's number, and he picks up, and they are able to make a connection somehow, and she gets a second chance to say goodbye. I love that premise, and the execution was absolutely great. And then the ending was so sad. Help. Question 11. What was the book that made you happy? Okay, I would say Instant Karma by Marissa Mayer. This is just fluff all the way through. And romance, of course, but fluff. I loved it. It's an instant dopamine book. Read it. Question 12. What's the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received? I will have to say Six of Crows. Even though I didn't buy it or receive it. I got it at the book exchange, so I guess that counts as acquiring it, because I don't generally buy books. So really, these 3 books are the only books that I have acquired this year. All 3 from the book exchange. Such a score. Anyways, I absolutely love the cover of this book, and the copy I have has reflective words, which I just find so beautiful. Like, I could admire this all day. I'm in love. Question 13. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? Okay, so I kind of mentioned one when I answered the most anticipated release for the end of this year, which is Silverborn. But besides that, things that I haven't, the things that are already out, the Legend series by Marie Lu, which is another of her books that was recommended to me, and also A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle, because I was supposed to read this for a book circle a few years ago, but I never actually finished the book because I joined halfway, so I read like chapter 13, and that's it. I also watched the movie. The movie was really, really good, so if the movie is that good, I'm very sure that the book is going to be much better, because I generally share the notion that generally the books are better than the movies. Yes. But I have a super long to be read list. I can actually show it to you. It is so long. You can also see all the things I've checked already. I'm hoping to read all of these by the end of the year. Last year, I made a New Year's resolution to read 100 books by the end of the year. I can give you an update on how far I am. I'm currently at 50 books. That's why I did the mid-year freakout tag, because if I'm going to read 100 books this year, I'm halfway there. But I've been making incredible progress. I don't really know how, because I've actually been very busy. But then I have taken a lot of time to read, though, so it's been really fun. Also, I have this bad habit of skimming books, because sometimes I read for content. Sometimes, not all the time. Like, I most definitely did not read this for content. I read through the whole thing. It took me, I can actually show you the elapsed time it took me to read Pride and Prejudice. Right here. Give me 1 second. It's quite funny. I use the app called Libby, and it actually gives me an estimate of how long I will take to finish the book. So I decided to play around with it the other day, and I got it to tell me that it will take me another 1 year to finish this book. I have currently spent 6 hours and 32 minutes reading that, which is more than I usually spend reading books, which is quite concerning. Like, should somebody really spend an hour on a 400-page book? That does not sound correct. Anyway, that was the mid-year freakout tag. I had so much fun doing it, but I swear it took me a whole hour to compile my list of books, because I am so indecisive. Anyway, we're done with that. I hope you had a ton of fun, and if you would like to do this tag too, you can try. I will leave the list of questions in the description below, so you can check it out there. If you want to read any of the books that I have mentioned, I will also link their Goodreads pages in the description below, so you can check them out as well. I definitely recommend you read them, except my biggest disappointment, because I've kind of said it was a disappointment, right? It was a major disappointment. Don't read that one. You can check out the rest. They're all really good books. And anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and happy reading. Read. Reading is good. See you. Post-editing me has a challenge for you. Go back through the video and see how many times you can count me saying, I absolutely love this book, because I was editing this just now and I am so tired of hearing those exact words come out from my mouth. I need to find better vocabulary.